Hello, all you folks out there in YouTube land. What's left of it? Thrash Pondo here, and yes, I am going live. For now, there is an extinction event heading up our way. We'll see how long I can continue. Rachel says, "Hello, hello, hello to you too, Miss Rachel. Great to see you." My flock sister Sarah's here. Says hi, Pons. Hello to you. Gary Carpenter asked me to guess who's Bach. Well, it's either Gary Carpenter or Arnold Schwarzenegger. Cindy D is here. Oh my God, Cindy, so good to see you. I know you've been able to make it with regularity as late. More than understand. We all have responsibilities, and I'm so glad you were here tonight. And it looks like it's so far the four of us, but we will make do with that. For now, it's probably going to be a long show tonight, by the way. There's a bit of nastiness coming up our way, as I was saying. But hey, I promised I was Sesame Street trivia tonight, guys. Sesame Street trivia. And also, it's funny because it doesn't really fit the topic. Tonight's topic of conversation is short-lived English science fiction horror shows that deserved a better run than they got. Whether they were short-lived over there or just short-lived here. I know a lot of PBS channels showed them briefly and cut them just as people were starting to catch on. But I always thought the English had a knack for sci-fi horror television, and we'll be discussing that today. And what killed it? Oh my God, Keithy is here. Keithy, so good to see you. My best to Hooper the Hippo. Keith said, I thought I'd stop by just to check you out. I am so glad you did, my brother. I am so glad you did. It's so nice to see you. Stay as long as you can and check out whatever you see fit, but it's so nice to see you. My flux says Tony's birthday this Thursday, Pawns. Hope you can make it if I have power back on. Yeah, they're talking that type of storm. But I will definitely keep you posted. And City says, can you tell me how to get to Sesame Street? Indeed, indeed. Rachel says, I have been waiting so patiently for Sesame trivia. Rachel, were you the one who asked for it? I'll be honest with you. I couldn't remember who asked for it. I know it was a while ago, but anyway, it's on tonight. Rachel says, do you remember the Tomorrow People on PBS? Very briefly, literally very briefly. I saw like a few episodes, and I think I ended up getting a job where I had to work when it was on, but I do remember it very briefly. So do you remember Zoom? Gotta zoom, zoom. That was actually filmed in Boston. Box 350, Boston, Mass. 02134. Send it to Zoom. A girl I went to college with was a Zoom girl. I can't tell you who for modesty forbids, but yeah, she was a Zoom girl for a while in the late 70s. Only says this is going to be like the Blizzard of 78. Possibly. Possibly, yes. That one was batshit, but again, this one is going to be up there. My flex is sweet pawns, and you are sweet as well, by the way. 257 says, I know it is. It's certainly it'll remind us all of it. If you were alive in 78, you'll remember the Blizzard of 78. There was a nasty one in 77 too, but nobody talks about it because 78 was so much worse. Let's just see if we could go in here. Key says hello minus the L. LOL. So Heo to you too, by the way. Justin Kerwin is here. Just good to see you. Good afternoon. All made it. So glad you did, Justy. Welcome to the party. Gary says next time do the Muppets. And Christopher's here. He says good evening, Bob. So good to see you, Christopher. Welcome to the party. Cindy says that's cool, Thrash. 257 says they saying in my state it will take several days. My state's probably going to be hit pretty bad too, by the way. But Hope Springs Eternals. Blixus here says, "What does GBH stand for?" Oh! I used to know this. Oh! What? GBH? Greater Boston? Does the B stand for Boston? I honest to God can't recall. But please enlighten because somebody tells me you know Superplex. Oh, and a lot of people saying hello to one another. Keith says no. I messed that up. It's Sarah's minus the Sarah minus the H. Oh, of course, of course. But he to you as well. But yes, Sarah, because H's are L. And Keith says I was in Rhode Island in '78, about 4 feet of snow. Yeah, my neck of the woods get about 33 inches of possible flurries, changing to rain later in the night. Danny here says greetings from South Carolina. Says I remember a satellite photo in Aviation Week of the east coast of the U.S., which showed the entire coast blanketed by snow in 1978. I remember the Northeast. That's all I remember, but it could have been the whole Eastern Seaboard. That there was a storm back in '93. I was living in Framingham at the time. There's a storm back in '93, which literally hit the whole Eastern Seaboard. It was on a Saturday because I remember John Goodman during his cold open is extolling how brave they are to keep the show going during this horrible blizzard. I guess New York has a travel ban for tonight. They don't make New Yorkers like they used to. Zoop. And let's just see. Danny says, how's your weather up there? It's bizarre. Right now, it's calm. There's no precipitation. The degrees aren't even that bad. It's like in the upper mid 30s. If you were out on my deck, you'd be like, oh my God, this is entirely pleasant. It's on its way. The storm is supposed to they keep changing their minds. They say it's probably going to start. The first wave is going to come in around 8 o'clock, which is why I'm probably going to go late tonight. But I couldn't abandon you guys altogether. It's going to pick up steam overnight. They're saying late, like in the overnight hours. It's going to really kick in, and tomorrow morning it's going to be at its peak. It keeps wobbling. It keeps wobbling. So, but right now it's almost pleasant. Yeah, Zoop, yeah, including Florida, by the way. The one I saw in '93, and I believe the one in '78 did too. Just says I was in Philadelphia in '78. I'm very sorry. We had lake effect on top of the storm. Everything was shut down for a long while. Buffalo, I know, goes through the same problem. That's why Buffalo, they call it the snow belt. Kerry said, 93 is the year. Oh, I'm very sorry. Your mom passed on. Very, very commiserations. Zuplik says New York City has become gentrified. It's become something. And what does GBH stand for? Christopher says, good evening to Zoop. 257 says, in terms of raw intensity and snowfall totals, this storm, February 22nd, 23rd, 26th, is drawing a direct comparisons to the historic blizzard of '78. Are you trying to make me nauseous? You're right. No, it's going to be very, very similar according to tracking. So let's hope the tracking is packing. Cindy says, so sorry to Gary. Yes, very, very sad. Oh, you left yours in 2019. Again, commiserations. Tug is here. Hey, Tug. Some of you haven't hit the like button. Tisk, tisk, yes, a tisk. What he said. It's freezing here, 33 degrees. I think it's warmer up here. And let's just see. 257 says I'm going to be up all night worrying. You know what, 257? That is so much the case. I've been checking updates periodically, and I'm driving myself batshit. I gotta stop doing it. I really do. Oh, in Gary's neck of the woods, it's 38. Yeah, I think it's at the moment it's warmer up here. And 207 says it's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we, and I feel fine for the moment. Mrs. Thrash had a nasty migraine today. The poor, poor thing. But my brother-in-law came over today. He's weak, but he was doing okay. He actually helped me fix the door. When I say help me fix a broken door, he did it himself. I helped a little bit, but he's the really handy one. Um, and Zoop GBH, come on, man, what does GBH stand for? Everybody asks Zoop looks what GBH stands for. And oh, Chris, you lost yours in 2019 too. Gee, I'm very very sorry. Uh, and Gary Carpenter says only thank you, Skeeter Davis. Okay, Skeeter Davis. That's the lady in the SNL bit, isn't it? Uh, the one where they made uh, Colin think she was a political activist from the 70s. Am I thinking of the same person? I like to think I am because that's one of the funniest bits on SNL history. 257 says, not since Blues of the 78, since I have to worry about my family member. Oh, I'm very sorry. And Cindy says, so sorry to Chris. And Doug saying hello. And just says, I've got friends in Vermont, so I'm worried about up there too. It's not going to get that far north. They might get a little slow. Might get a little slow. Might get a little snow in southern Vermont, but it's really the coast that's going to get whacked. And Vermont is the only New England state to not have a coastline. Little trivia there for you. And 257 says, but it's 5 years old at my group home. And Cindy says, I don't get your notification like I used to. I finally got one today for your show, Thrash. Graham is here. Graham, hello. And Graham, yes, we will be talking about English sci-fi and horror television. And Keith E says 26 in East Tennessee. The Elvis impersonators are cuddling in crowds. It just says, hey, Tug, I already hit the button. Chris, I don't remember Hurricane Sandy. It didn't really have much impact up here in Massachusetts. Duplex says, so did your brother-in-law finally receive his kit? Yes, he has started his therapy. That's the good news. He's weak as a kitten, but he's getting it. Thank you for the link, Sister Sarah. And yes, please pass the link to everybody on. And it's appropriate to Skeeter. Oh, so yeah. Skeeter, I just gigged, didn't I? I'm very sorry. Skeeter Davis Country Music. I thought Skeeter Davis was actually, I think I'm combining two names. But she was supposed to be this black activist and poet, Dr. Because I remember thinking, is she related to Ozzie Davis? But I think her real name, I think her name was Daphne Skeeter. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I was thinking of somebody else, but you guys must remember that SNL bit where it turned out the person was made up. They didn't exist. 'Cause I remember the next morning I tore the internet apart trying to find out who this Dr. Davis was before my mother could say, you don't know who she is. You should be ashamed. And she would too. And sitcom Roddery is here. Hello, sitcom. I used to watch WGBH when I didn't like what was on Connecticut PBS station. I never got the Connecticut stations, so I commiserate because I don't know. Oh, you weren't offering. You didn't. Yeah, I have no idea what WGBH stands for. Um, my guess is Greater Boston H. Greater whatever H could stand for. I actually don't know. Um, but GB, I believe, is Greater Boston. Indy Series says, Great Blue Hill, Bob. The Blue Hill isn't in Milton? I had an aunt and uncle in Milton when I was a kid. And let's see what else we got going on here. A lot of people saying hello to one another. Okay, Indy, you'll probably know, even though I don't think you're a New Englander. What does GBH stand for in the WGBH? Give you a chance to show off. Anyway. Oh, Angela Davis. Angela. Her name was Daphne Skeeter, but it was Dr. Angela Davis, I'm guessing. But in any case, it was one of the funniest bits SNL ever did because they were making Collins say absolutely unforgivable things. And this very sweet, elderly, activist woman, she's like, no, 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 no. Then it come out, it was all a put on. Genius, absolutely genius. Greater Boston Harbor? Ooh, Greater Boston. That sounds about right, even though they don't show TV in the harbor. Boston is very proud of its harbor in the same way Cape Cod is proud of its bay. This is all right. So Angela Davis with Tina Turner. Okay, that's not it. Barking up the wrong tree. There. 257 says Zuper, my family member. I just called. Said the Blues at a 78. The winds were. You said miles per hour. Yeah. Doug is also guessing harbor. And Angela Bassett played Tina Turner. Yes. And oh, not Angela Davis, Angela Bassett. Oh, okay. That's where you guys got Bassett. She should have sang "Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog." Get it? Bassett singing "Hound Dog." Bassett, Hound, Bassett. I'm sorry. And Zublik says, "I remember a lot of snow when you lived in New York. I'm certain of it." And he says, I'm sticking with Great Blue Hill for. Oh, you weren't saying like Great Blue Hill as an exclamation. You were saying Great Blue Hill as in the Boston reference. All right, maybe it is Great Blue. That actually, I'm going to give you that because that's better than Greater Boston Harbor. I think like Great Caesar's Ghost. Get better, Harvard. Don't get me started. Um, Cold Spring Harbor. And let's just see. Johnny Orchard is here. He says, hi, guys and gals, guys and gals. We're just a groovy bunch of guys, and so glad you could make it. Isn't Skeeter the twin sister of Scooter? Quite possibly. Scooter's what my grandfather called me when I was a baby. My grandfather bestowed nicknames on people. We had 9 children, so he had to have nicknames for everybody so he'd remember them. And that carried over to his grandchildren. He got bored kind of at the end. So, like, I don't think my brother has a nickname, but I was Scooter. My cousin was Rusty. And I think there were a couple more on there, but take my word for it. Angela Davis is a black activist. Okay, because this woman was not. This woman was an actress playing one. But thank you, Cindy. Brogus here says hello, everyone. Yeah, you guys do know what I'm talking about, right? It was during the weekend update. They always do that thing about. Well, they didn't do it this year, and it was kind of awkward. But what they do is they do a Christmas joke swap where they read really, really nasty jokes written by the other one. And one year, Mike Shea had this activist lady on the show, doctor, and I can't quite pin down her name, who was sort of chastising Michael while he had to read these terrible jokes, even though, sorry, um, uh, Colin had to read them, even though they were written by Mike, and it was absolutely hysterical. And then the next day, I found out that she was an actress. And he says the signal is transmitted from the Great Blue Hill, hence GBH. Bingo. That makes perfect sense. So it's Great Blue Hill in Milton. And sitcom Roddery says a lot of actors claim they are activists when they don't have any movies lined up. That was an old joke about philosophers. Philosophers are teachers who can't get tenure. I forget. And Zublik says, "Where the heck is Great Blue Hill, and why is it great? It's in Milton now, because as you know, Boston is pretty flat, and one of the reasons that it's flat was because they leveled a lot of the hills and filled part of the harbor in to make Boston bigger. That's what they used to call Boston. It was the city of many villages, and it used to be green and only half as wide. There's a poem I remember from when I was in college, but in any event, so you don't see a lot of hills in Boston, and in Milton, there's this fairly large hill that just kind of comes out of nowhere. So it's the Great Blue Hill in Boston, in Milton. which Milton's a suburb of Boston. In case you hadn't deduced that by now, it's where when the urban poor finally got enough money to move out of the city, they moved to Milton. And then he says, short run British show being human. I thought that was it will be when we get around to it. It will be. And Gary says, Z, you don't understand that. And Tug says, I thought it was something in German. Yeah, close enough. And Zubik says, I don't understand what. Where Blue Hill was, I'm guessing, but he does now. And Cindy says, I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV. Chad Everett. And Justin says, more German, Tug. Bitte, meine Deutsch ist kaputt. And Gary says, you don't see any hills in Beverly Hills. No, you wouldn't, would you? And Sitcom says, I used to prefer my old female boss to Gunther Lutz. Luckily, she didn't get the reference. There's plenty of planes here on the plains. Home on the plains. Anyway, so yeah, guys, I'm sure all of you at one point or another saw a short-lived English science fiction TV show, or a horror themed show that you thought was good. The one I like, and it's funny, I'm going to get the title wrong because I always do. All I can think of is Tales from the Dark Side, and that wasn't it. That was Tales of the Unexpected, I think was the British one. And that one was good. Some of them were about paranormal stuff. Some of them were just tales with ironic endings. Spoiler, there will be spoilers here. There was a really cool one. There's this merchant sailor who jumped ship and he's stuck in some third world port and he's trying to get home. And he comes up with an idea of just mugging some guy who looks like he has money to try to just try to get ahead of the game. And the guy reaches for a gun. So this merchant sailor kills him with a knife and then really has to get off the island now. And first he goes to a friend who's a prostitute. Prostitute has a John who knows somebody. The John knows a cabbie who knows everyone on the island. The cabbie it becomes like a Burl Ives folk song. He goes through all these step after step after step to find the gangster El Madrid who can help anybody get off the island. And everyone says he owes me a favor, so drop my name, and El Madrid will take care of you. And he finally get to El Madrid's house, and he can't find El Madrid, but he finds El Madrid's wife, and she's crying, and he goes, I'm so sorry to bother you at this obviously bad time, ma'am, but are you Mrs. El Madrid? And she goes, see? And he goes, your husband has to help me. And she goes, he can't help anybody. He was killed by a mugger earlier this evening. That type of stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna throw out Tales from the Unexpected. Do you guys remember the show? Let me know in the comments below. If not, I don't know. Doctor Who wasn't exactly short-lived, but it didn't last long in the States. Tripods is a better. I love Tripods. I actually went out and bought the trilogy in paperback so I could read the books because I couldn't find the show. I was visiting my father down in the Raleigh area. They were showing it. It wasn't being shown in my area. So I bought the books so I could keep going with the show. The books are so much better than the show was. What aren't they? But yeah, let's open with those two. But anyone else watch Tripods? Tripods was good. Don't get me wrong. Tripods was good. But the books were just so much better. And Graham, does this name mean anything to you? Michael Grade. I'm just going to throw that out there. See if you know what I'm talking about. Oh, 257 Pond's got to go. 257, I understand the storm is concerning you. You probably get responsibilities and hunker down. More than so glad you could make it. Take care of yourself. We'll talk to you after the storm. Keithy says, I asked for a helicopter chips, but they only had plane. Priceless. For a lot of people saying good night to 257, as am I. just says, "Yeah, that was yes, Rodal did conceive that show, and I believe wrote many episodes, but at least it was his concept. Pardon me, conceptualization. Very very sorry. Uh, Zubin says he found El Barcelona. um, I think he just sort of gave up at that point because little secret in the old days, when you killed a gangster, his people found out and found you. So I think his first thought was, here I am trying to avoid the cops, and his own people are going to find me and kill me. And Sitcom says, I thought, yes, as do we all. And Gary says, I only know American short lived shows. Hey, I said we could talk about those too. So a short-lived sci-fi show that you miss, throw it on out. And Sitcom says, Pons, I thought you were describing that show where a guy was dropped on an island and they all had numbers, but there was never a number one. Ah, okay. There's a reason that show was short-lived. That's The Prisoner. That's The Prisoner. And it's an amazing show, but it was only written to have that number of episodes. It was a micro series. And Patrick McGowan actually had to go on a long vacation because people found the ending to be so unsatisfying. It was the first show with a really unsatisfying ending. I like The Prisoner. There's no way you can give that a satisfying ending. But Graham, while we're on the subject of The Prisoner, and I'm sure you're familiar with The Prisoner, and Indy and Zuper and Tug and anyone else who's familiar with it as well, general question for the whole audience. I always had a working theory, the reason you never saw number one. Okay, it has been established, at least to my satisfaction, that Patrick McGowan was Danger Man before he was The Prisoner. And a lot of people theorized that he was captured either by the Eastern Bloc or by his own people because he knew too much. I think he built a state of the art prison to hold intelligence gathering personnel. And the only person he saw fit to test it was himself. So he made up some cover story about retiring. So they'd grab him, throw him in it, and then he would test how effective it is by trying to escape himself. Any takers? Anyway, while I'm pontificating, I go way behind. So I'm just going to skip back here really quick. Oh, yes, there we go. Zublik says he was number one. Wow, Zublik, you said in one sentence what I just described. Yes, I am so with you. Just says tripods is on my list. And yes, books are wonderful. They really, really were. They really were. The show wasn't bad, but Gary says it was much loved. I guess he liked it too. Zubik says he was called a tripod for obvious reasons. Smirk. Just says Michael Grade can. Yes, okay. So that's one. I'll elaborate in a second. I want to see who else knows. Sean is here. He says, "Hey, to Keith, Sean, so glad you can make it, my brother. Welcome to the show." Gary says Gilligan's Island, Batman, Adam's Family, The Munsters, The Flying Nun, and The Professor. All great shows. Only one I would consider on that list at sci-fi though is Batman. Adam's Family, I guess you could consider horror, more comedy though, but all great shows. And all could have had a better run, I feel. Keith, he says, Z, I knew a guy that was his nickname tripod. Terrible, terrible. Tracy's here. Oh, Tracy, so good to see you, Bubba. Tracy. And Tracy says, hiya, guys, back at home from dinner with Hubs. I hope you're all having a wonderful weekend. Likewise, Bubba, so good to see you. Just says, cheers from the nanny and the professor reference Gary. I guess that was kind of paranormal, but okay. Ooh, Johnny Roach says Star Blazers. Yes, which was known in Japan as Space Battle Cruiser Yamato. And Gary says, Keithy, I knew a guy called, Spoons. And Tug says you're thinking of the Prisoner sitcom. Yes. And for a second, I thought you were trying to say The Prisoner was a sitcom. And Brogu says, I remember The Prisoner. I thought it was good. It was good. A lot of people saying hi to Tracy. Tracy said the barbecue was tough. Very sorry, my dear. And Ziplik says The Prisoner was number one. Yes, I concur. And Tug says, which beach ball is more terrifying, Prisoner or Dark Star? Story behind that, they actually had a mechanical robot that was going to be like a robot guard, sort of like Michael in Boy and His Dog. It didn't work like days before they started shooting, very similar to the shuttlecraft prop not working days before Star Trek, which led to the transporters. So they decided to lean into it. They had a bunch of lava lamp props for the show because they thought they looked slick. So they said, how about a big lava lamp blob? And history was made. And let's just see, I think I jumped again, so I'm going to be careful. Yeah, and I'm going to say Dark Star. Gary says Time Tunnel wasn't on long. No, Time Tunnel. I love Time Tunnel. Yeah, I think Irwin Allen should have gotten a better chance with that one. I think, if I remember correctly, they told me he had to have a pay cut, and he said deuces. Is that the one where William Shatner and um Adam West were in an episode? They both played like Greek warriors or something. And tough call, Tug. And he says, I always assumed number one was busy having a number two, but I'm bummed. Sean says, the bubbles in The Prisoner scared the hell out of me. My parents had to build an extension onto their house, and one of the lightning fixtures looked a bit like a bubble. Oh, I got Spock. And Ziplik says a show that deserved a longer run, and it was an American show, The Invaders. Yes, I told you. I told you my working theory about The Invaders is that The Invaders is sort of like what the Invasion of the Body Snatchers was if it was done as The Prisoner. I always had a working theory that someone wanted to do Invasion of the Body Snatchers as a TV show where he's like running around, you're next, and the body snatched are trying to get him. So it becomes like a whole Richard Kimball thing. But that didn't fly, so they just went with Alien Invaders. But of course, as you know, the gimmick in the 1978 Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which I've actually never seen and have no opinion on. But there's a great scene where Jack Kuzaka runs up to their car and says, "Help! Help! Let me in!" And it's just the idea that for 20 years he's being chased, and they finally caught him. Yeah. Let me just see. I'm going to skim down. A lot of people having fellowship with one another. If I miss one of your comments, I apologize. Just says I quite like She Wolf of London before it got retooled into Love and Circuses. Not familiar with that one. Brogu's here. Hey, Brogu. Sean says, sitting here waiting for the snowstorm, keeping warm. I know, commiserations, lad. It looks like you guys are going to get even more snow than we are. But nothing in New England here can't handle. Elzebub says it was good, if not great. And let me just see here. Chris says Michael Grade canceled the original Doctor Who. Yes. Michael Grade was the BBC programming director. Hated science fiction. He was one of those Philistines who science fiction automatically bad. So the first thing he did when he took over is he canceled anything the BBC was doing that was science fiction. Burn in hell. And Gary says the only Doctor Who I saw was Peter Cushing. Tom Baker, the best. A lot of people wishing Sean to say stay safe. And he got groceries staying in. That's the best way to do it. Oh my God, Mystery Monsters is here. Mystery Man. Sorry. Mystery Men and Monsters. I love that one. Mystery Men and Monsters. So good to see you. It was. I was called. It was MMM. So good to see you. Tom Tunnel is great. Yes. I loved it. I thought it was a great show, and it's so good to have you with us. By the way, particularly this show. Don't be such a stranger, Eminem. And we miss you. It's so good to see you. Welcome to the party. And don't take that as a chastisement. Just know that you've been missed. And Zublik says, sounds great, very prepared. Yes, he certainly is. And he says, it's a shame we don't have to go from cool old sci-fi shows to Sesame Street. Yes, it is a shame we have to go from old sci-fi shows to Sesame Street because I promised Rachel. Apparently, it was Rachel. I promised Rachel that we'd do Sesame Street trivia tonight, and I'm a man of my word. I couldn't think of enough trivia about old English sci-fi, but yes. Johnny Orchard, yes, Space 1999 is the high watermark of short-lived English science fiction. And Sid Camaraderie says Sesame Street. What do you mean, Indy? My trivia that is on Sesame Street, classic Sesame Street. For the true nostalgia buffs out there, just says obligatory screams in Donald Sutherland reference. Yeah. And Cartwright, no, 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 no. Ending flipped my switch when I was a kid. When I first saw that, I was like, boo. And Zublik says they should mix the invaders with the Dead Zone. Fantastic concept. Yes, the Dead Invaders. Love it. Love it. And John Oates said the Phoenix Man from Atlantis. Remember both of those shows? I loved Man from Atlantis. I was obsessed with anything oceanographic when I was a kid. Probably because I lived on Cape Cod. Still do. And Keith says subscribe, share, and if you see the height like button, hit that too. You what he said. And Orchard says yes, Battlestar Galactica, the first season. Only episode of 80 that I truly loved was the one that's based on Hell in the Pacific, where Gary Owens does the voice of the Cylon. I thought that's a pretty slick episode. But that's it. And M, I'll just say M cubed, says to Johnny Orchard, love those shows. Yeah, me too. I absolutely adore them. And Johnny Orchard says, Cole check. The Night Stalker loved it. And Rachel says, I wasn't the one who asked for Sesame Street trivia. I'm just super excited for it. Okay, was it Teb? I could have sworn it was Teb, but then when you said you've been waiting a long time, I thought, well, maybe it was you. But I promised someone, and by golly, we're going to do it. And Indy says to Johnny Orchard, I would say that that's what we should have trivia about, but I'm trying to keep it fair. Okay, Johnny Orchard's last comment was Kolchak the Night Stalker. I don't know that much about Kolchak the Night Stalker, but I could do one about old sci-fi if you want. And let the games begin. And he says, whoever asked for Sesame Street trivia better damn well be here. I think it's Teb. But Rachel did want it. So anyway, it'll be fun, guys. Come on, it's fun. So when I do it now, we'll get out of the way, and then we'll spend the rest of the night just sort of talking about English and American science fiction. And I'll start some trivia questions for next time. Keithy says, no, there is a hype button. If you see it, hit it. It helps the channel. Okay, hype it is. Hype away. Hype away. Hype away. The girls on Cape Cod have no combs. Hype away. Hype away. Comb their hair with codfish bones. We are bound for Australia. Hype away my bones. Sorry. It's an old sea shanty they made me memorize when I was a kid. Cubed says directly to me, have you seen a World of Giants? It was a little similar to Land of the Giants, but it aired a few years before. I have not. I'm gonna have to check it out. And John says, I don't know if I can keep watching if you don't know who Kolchak is or was. I know exactly. I just don't know if I have enough trivia questions. But you know what? I'll dig and get the questions. I do remember the show. I just don't remember well enough to come up with a series of questions. But I can accommodate. I might mix it up with Man from Atlantis and other goodies. Sean says, I think I've only seen the hype button when viewing on my phone. Yeah, I haven't seen a hype button on YouTube, but full disclosure, I haven't looked for it. Sitcom says, I remember when Maria was written out of a relationship with David and went with Lewis became the Northern Callaway's psychotic breakdown. I'm not familiar with that. Sorry. And Cindy says, hype away, Dixieland. Ah, well, I wish I was in Dixie. I really don't. Sorry. Anyway, Sesame Street trivia, and as always, in no particular order. Let's get this dog and pony show on. Ernie had this cultural cliche as his favorite tub toy. Was it A, a tugboat, B, a shark, C, a wind up frog, or D, a rubber ducky? Let's see. I remember that too. Sitcoms. He says Thrash. Gary says Land of the Giants, Ultraman, Spectreman, Johnny Sucko Giant Robo, and Space Giants. Oh, look who's here. Oh, Sydney's been lurking in the shadows. Let me repeat the question. Ernie had this culturally cliche as his favorite tub toy. Was it A, a tugboat, B, a shark, C, a wind up frog, or D, a rubber ducky? See, I told you this was going to be fun. Missed the question following Rachel, rubber ducky. Yes, yes, rubber ducky. Rubber ducky, you're the one. Number 9. This much loved major character was considered Sesame Street royalty. Was it A, the Earl of Grey, B, Baron von Redberry, C, the Count, or D, the Duke of New York? I shall repeat. This much loved major character was considered Sesame Street royalty. Was it A, the Earl of Grey, B, Baron von Redberry, C, the Count, or D, the Duke of New York? Oh, you say rubber ducky to your daughter? That's adorable. And yes, 9. The Count. No. Now moving on to 8. 8 crazy questions. Number 8. Considered to be the show's second language, several characters spoke this as their primary tongue. Was it A, French, B, Spanish, C, German, or D, Cantonese? I shall repeat. Considered the show's second language, several characters spoke this as their primary tongue. Was it A, French, B, Spanish, C, German, or D, Cantonese? Esperanto. What was that William Shatner movie about the demon and the guy comes back from the war and his sisters are possessed? But it's all in Esperanto, and it's the only time they ever made a complete movie in Esperanto. And I guess they actually had people who represent Esperanto come for the screening, and they were laughing. They go, "The pronunciation is just atrocious. They might as well have just spoken English." But very oh, 2 I think Incubus. Yes, thank you, Incubus. I've seen it's not a bad movie, but again, it's like you might as well have just put subtitles on an English movie. And Cindy D goes, "No, we always see you. We just missed you this time, Emily." Oh, we never. How can we ever ignore you, Em? Oh, by the way, Mrs. Thrash has been over the moon from some of the stuff you've been posting on Facebook. I'm not going to cite specifics on the show, but just so you know, she's always she in the mornings when she gets up before me, she's on Facebook and she's like, "Oh, I love what everyone's putting on your channel." So continue. You make Mrs. Thrash happy, which is something I gave up trying to do decades ago. Number 7. Oh, yes, Spanish. Yes, Spanish. By the way, help me out here. George Sierra. He did some guest appearances on Sesame Street, didn't he? I could have sworn he did, but then I was doing some research. I couldn't find any reference to him, but I could have sworn he was on Sesame Street. In any event, number 7. Apart from cookies, Cookie Monster has a taste for what snack? Is it A, apples, B, bananas, C, chili, or D, dog food. And give yourself a bonus point if you caught the fact that that's actually that order is from the old Tony Basil song "Shopping from A to Z." Her, I can't even in good conscience call it her only other hit because. Oh yes, I can guess. Yeah, I'm sure you guessed correctly. Anyway, I shall repeat. Apart from cookies, Cookie Monster had a taste for what snack? Was it A, apples, B, bananas, C, chili, and D, dog food? And give yourself an extra point if you knew about the Tony Basil song. And yes, it's apples. In fact, he and Ernie did the funniest bit I think they ever did on the entire show, where Ernie had an apple and Cookie Monster was trying to con him out of it. And he pretends to be a doctor and says, "You have cucamongophobia." Cucamongophobia? Yes. Cucamongophobia. Good heavens, you're making my apple jump. It just the comedic timing in that episode, I still think it's funny to this day, but then again, I never really grew up. But yes, apples is the correct answer. A, apples. And you can't do an Ernie question without a Bert question. So number 6, and then we'll get scores. In a rare episode of Upbeat Behavior, Bert sings a music hall number about this letter. Was it A, E, B, B, C, Q, or D, W? Emily says, so far, Pharaoh deer have been eating in our backyard. North Carolina doesn't have Pharaoh deer. Um, how about Darrow deer, as in Clarence Darrow? Maybe they evolved into Pharaoh deer. See what I did there? Sorry. We have deer around here too, by the way. Anyway, let me repeat. In a rare episode of Upbeat Behavior, Bert sings a musical number about this letter. Was it A, E, B, B, C, Q, or D, W? Not even native to the US. Oh, crazy. The correct answer is, and the word waffle would be just awful without W. Woof, 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 woof. Yeah. E was the dope dealer archetype. Hey, want to buy an E? And Q is, hey, what's that fun looking thing up there? And B, just because people would think B for Bert, but the correct answer is D for W. Hey, WD-40. And now how about some scores? Oh, I shouldn't have done that. That song's stuck in my head now. And the word waffle would be just awful without W. Woo, woo, woo. Johnny says, always look on the bright side of life. Da da, da da, da da, da da. Da. If you're feeling rotten, well, there's one thing you've forgotten, and that's to smile and laugh and dance and sing. Sean is 4 for 5. Oh, I'm sorry. Zerplex is 4 for 5. Uh, Sean is 4 for 5. Emily's 4 for 5. Tug is 4 for 5. Rachel's 5 for 5. Sitcoms, I thought we were talking about Bert doing a pigeon dance. He may have, but I was talking. He belongs to the W Admiration Society. Gary is 5 for 5. You guys are killing it tonight. Justin says one of my fave bits in Bert and Rick Moranis bonding on a plane over oatmeal. Oh, I never saw that, but I love it. Cindy's 4 for 5. Johnny is 4 for 5. Justin is 5 for 5. Teb! Oh my God, Teb. Were you the one who asked for Sesame Street trivia? Because we're doing it. You'll have to watch the first half and repeat, but you're just in time for the second half. Oh, 3 for 5. Missed the first 2 questions. I just got here. Well, you know what? Um, Watch them and repeat, by the way. So I'm pretty sure you would have gotten them. But I'm glad that you are here because I had a hunch you wanted these. And let's see. I think Keith Christopher says I got 4 right so far. Good, good, good. Brits don't have like airy waffles because they don't like Luftwaffles. Yeah, so Tim, feel free to amend your score if you get the first two. And it was you who suggested Sesame Street trivia. You know what? In the interest of total fairness, I'm just going to ask the first two questions. Ernie had this cultural cliche as his favorite tub toy. I'm going to give you the options. I bet you already know it. Was it A, a tugboat, B, a shark, C, a wind up frog, or D, a rubber ducky? And the other question you missed was this much loved major character was considered Sesame Street royalty. Was it A, the Earl of Grey, B, Baron von Redberry, C, the Count, or D, the Duke of New York? There you go. And I believe I got all the scores. It's yay, Ted made it, yay. Keith has no idea, but a no idea is a deer without sight. And a deer without sight or legs is a still no idea. It goes downhill from there. Cookie Monster did C for cookie. C is for cookie. That's good enough for me. Yes, he certainly did. So now for the back half. Number 5. The show's musical genius was this character. Was it A, Don Music, B, Lorenzo Music, C, Don Kirshner, or D, Swan? I'll repeat. The show's musical genius was the character A, Don Music, B, Lorenzo Music, C, Don Kirshner, or D, Swan? I thought those were the funniest bits when I was a kid. I really did. Yankee Doodle stayed at home, a cooking for his pony, put fat spaghetti in a pot and called it macaroni. And Dog Kirshner. Don Music. Don Music was the character. Number 4. In the infamous Hugga Wugga sketch, this traditional favorite number is added as a counterpoint. Was it A, You Are My Sunshine, B, Good Morning Sunshine, C, Walking on Sunshine, or D, Got Some Bad News for You, Sunshine? I'll repeat. In the infamous Hugga Wugga sketch, this traditional favorite number is added as a counterpoint. Is it A, You Are My Sunshine, B, Good Morning Sunshine, C, Walking on Sunshine, or D, Got Some Bad News for You, Sunshine? I knew I'd get a couple of you with this one. Good Morning Sunshine is actually featured um, a couple of occasions in Sesame Street. Bob sings it on at least a couple that I can remember. But in the Hugga Wugga bit, it's the alien Hugga Wugga, and he tries to make the other aliens sing Hugga Wugga as well. And then one comes up and goes, "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine." And when they do the bit on the because it actually predated Sesame Street, it was done. I want to say on like the Ed Sullivan Show in the early '60s. But when they did it on the Muppet Show, the old man Statler and whatever the other guy's name was, um, the old one of the old men starts singing. He goes, "You are my sunshine," and the other old man says, "You silly old fool! I'm not your son, and my name isn't Shine." Thought it was funny, but the correct answer is A. You are my sunshine. 3. This famous character actor had a recurring role as the painter. Was it A, Paul Lind, B, Paul Benedict, C, Paul Williams, or D, Salvador Dali? And give yourself an extra point if you could name the member of the cast of Grease who actually appears in one of his sketches. But anyway, I will repeat. This famous character actor had a recurring role as the painter. Was it A. Paul Lind, B. Paul Benedict, C. Paul Williams, or D. Salvador Dali? And again, extra point if you can name the cast member from Grease who did one of the bits. Waldorf, Statler and Waldorf. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I know it was Statler and something like that. But and Tug says the Statler and Waldorf, but I'm amused at the thought of SVU's Detective Statler on the Muppet Show. Mercy, mercy. Yes, yes, Paul Benedict, which is funny because I guess when he first started, he did stage hand work. He built sets and stuff like that. But he had such a great presence. He started doing in front of the camera work. He had done some stage work at this point already. He worked with a stage company where the actors did everything. And there's one where he's using his paintbrushes in condiments while the girl's making a sandwich. And he makes a 3 out of mayo, mustard, and ketchup. And in the end, the girl eats the sandwich. The girl was Stockard Channing. I don't know if anybody got that, but if you did know it, give yourself a point. But yes, B for Benedict. Number 2. The character of Oscar was loosely adapted from A, the Academy Award, B, Jack Klugman, C, a restaurant owner, or D, the director of PBS. And I shall repeat. The character of Oscar was loosely adapted from A, the Academy Award, B, the actor Jack Klugman, C, a restaurant owner, or D, the director of PBS. All great answers, I gotta tell you. I was actually very proud of that one. And most of you went for the bait question, and I do apologize. G is in dog. A boy and his dog. Actually, it was C. Um, when they were in production near the studio, there was a restaurant that Frank Oz and Henson, Jim Henson used to frequent. And the restaurant manager and anyone who's ever worked in hospitality knows it. He had been doing it too long and he was just this bitter, broken, miserable person. And they're like, what a grouch. So, yes, the correct answer is C. And number 1, see, this was fun, wasn't it? Number 1, Grover supposedly was used in training videos for this tech company. Was it A, Apple, B, Nintendo, C, Texas Instruments, or D, IBM? And feel free to give scores. Oscar Mayer. I wish I was an Oscar Mayer Vino. I shall repeat. Grover supposedly was used in training videos for this tech company. Was it A, Apple, B, Nintendo, C, Texas Instruments, or D, IBM? I love. I really felt it was C, but I really wanted to be Jack Klugman. It fits. He was Oscar, and he was something of a slob, and he was something of a grouch. And it really fitted. Rachel says, "I swear, I thought it was a restaurant owner. I wrote B by mistake. Give it to you. There's like Texas. Take Texas. All my exes live there. Take the point, Rachel. No one's gonna like fuss. You know, if you like I always say, vote your conscience. If you honestly felt if that happened to me once with Dave, actually, where I meant, I thought the answer I was giving was a different letter. And I think we have all the answers in here, but the correct answer is D, IBM. I tried to find the videos online, didn't have much luck. I figured someone would have posted them. No dice. But yeah, I guess in the early 70s, IBM used Grover for some new breakout product or something. Zerblix is 5 out of 10. Tug says, I lived my whole life thinking it was because of Klugman. Yeah, well, yeah, why wouldn't you? Tab is 6 of 10. Emily is 7 for 10. Just Kerwin is 10 for 11. Bonuses don't never count against you, by the way. Sean is 5 out of 5 of 10. Okay. Rachel is 10 out of 10 because of the bonus point. Excellent. Cindy is 7 for 10. Christopher is 5 out of 10. Gary is 8 out of 10. Tug is 7 for 10. And John is 6 for 10. Well, it's a little better than some football teams. And Sean says 5. So there you go. So well played, well played. I'm glad you guys had fun. Keith is -3. What is that the temperature? And any last minute science fiction or TV show related little tidbits you want to throw into the mix right now? 'Cause I think I'm going to wrap it up a bit early tonight, by the way. I get some stuff I want to do before the storm really, really kicks in. And good luck to everyone else in the Northeast or anybody who knows anybody in the Northeast. Um, those of you who have suffered earlier bouts of natural disasters, I feel for you. And those were pretty easy. Thank you, Rachel. And Emily says, I never realized how little I knew about Sesame Street until tonight. You did very well. I mean, what are you talking about? You did very, very well. And Tug says, that was good trivia, Bob. Better than expected. Thank you. Thank you. I put a lot of effort into it. And just says, thinking good thoughts for you and yours, Bob. Thank you. Just that means a lot. Thank you. Thank you. And John says, stay warm. Can I plug my book? Please, please. Again, I must confess, I never did finish your book. And I got another one on top of it. But he has this amazing uh, book series about asymmetric warfare between these secret good and evil entities. They're just a blast. Please, please plug your books, Johnny. It would be my pleasure to have you plug them on my channel. And Tug says, I hope you storm the weather well, Bob. Thank you. I appreciate that. Graham says, bye, folks. Have a good weekend, hopefully. Yeah, Graham, thank you very much. And if you want to review this matter at other future shows, I'm always up for a little English TV show talk. Gary says, good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are. Emily says, good night, Chris. Keith says, put a yardstick in your backpack like you did with the pond stick years ago. Oh, good memory. Oh my God. Good, very good. Yeah, because the water levels in my pond change dramatically. That's how I see if my property's gonna flood or not. But very good, very good. The snow totals range anywhere from about 10 inches to 2 feet. I don't want to do this anymore. Chris says good night to Rachel and Tracy. Cindy says, I know a lot about Sesame Street, just not those particular questions, lol. And Teb says, Thrash, would you please consider doing a special Robert Duvall themed trivia in honor of his recent passing? That's a very nice idea. Yes, I will do that. I will do that. And good night to you, Chris. Rachel says good night, all. Yes, good night to you too. Have a good week, all. Yes, you too. Emily says, I'm not looking forward to these damn wind chills tonight, down to 16. You've been there, done that. And Zubik says, I am glad we didn't discuss British sci-fi shows too much because they stink. Oh, throw the gauntlet down. And Keith says, peace. I'll try to be back before 6 months. LOL. Please do my best to everybody and say hi to Richard Nerd Girl for me, please. Tracy says, please stay safe, you too. But thank you. I appreciate that. We're going to do everything we can. It's very kind of you to say. Oh, and don't forget Alice Ghostly. I won't. I do. I think Tab's right. We really should do Robert Duvall because we just lost him recently. But I did not forget Miss Ghostly. Not a ghostly of a chance. And John says, stay warm, be safe, my brothers and sisters. You too. You too. And Emily says, Zuper choosing violence before leaving. Getting a little parting shot. Oh, and Tug says, keep your friends close, but your cookies closer. And Zuper says, yep, Emily, embrace the hate. Well, anyway, guys, be good, be safe, be careful. I'm so glad you guys all made it tonight. I'm so glad the storm held off until I could finish the show. These mean a lot to me. I'll try to think like we can do it again next week. I have no idea what this week holds. I'm trying not to even speculate, but we'll shoot for next week. Thinking positively. I'd like to think we get the power back on by then. Anyway, but until next time, be good, be safe, be careful, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all again very, very, very soon. Peace.